Mesechta Middos Daf Lamed Hey. A good winter to everyone. Right outside of the Hazara, there was a very short fence called a soireh. It was 10 tvachim high, and it marked the area where goyim can no longer come close to the Beis Hamikdash. This insulted the Yevanim, and when they took over the Beis Hamikdash, they made 13 breaches in the soireh. When the Yevanim were defeated, they fixed the breaches, and Klal Yisrael instituted 13 bowings, 13 ishtachavos, in commemoration of the 13 breaches, the Nes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did to Klal Yisrael, that they were able to defeat the Yevanim. Between the Soireg and the Hazara, there's an area called the Chayil. The Chayil had 12 steps. Each step was a half amma high, and the treads were a half amma deep. As all steps in the Beis Hamikdash, besides the steps leading to the Ulam, half a amma by a half a amma. Every entrance in the Beis Hamikdash was 20 amas high by 10 amas wide. Besides that of the Heichal, the Ulam had that petach, that shar was 40 amas wide by 20 amas high. All entrances had doors besides that one to the Heichal, which only had a pareches. All entrances had a lentil, a top mashkoif, whereas the Shar Teddy didn't have a flat, straight mashkoif. It was on some sort of angle. Either it was an upside down V, or it was a straight door, just that had a decorative V on top. When Klal Yisrael built the Beis Hamikdash, they didn't have enough money, so they used inferior material. But later on, when they became wealthier, they switched out all the doors to golden doors, besides the Shar Nikanor. Nikanor, the famous story where Nikanor himself brought 2 doors on a ship, and when they felt that the ship was going under because of his doors, they threw one off the ship, and when they wanted to throw the second one, he said, "You'll have to throw me into the ocean as well." And the nace happened. When they got to the shore, they found that the first door they threw off was attached to the ship, and therefore they never changed out that set of doors. Another shita is that those doors initially were bronze. It was even more expensive than gold, or just as expensive than gold. It was a beautiful door, so there's no reason to switch it out. The eastern wall surrounding the Hazara was lower than all walls, because the halacha is that the kohen who burns the parah aduma stands on Har HaZeisim, Har HaMishcha, and sees directly into the Heichal. The only way that that's doable is if the eastern wall was up to 20 amas high. Therefore, he could see over it and through all the entrances into the Heichal. The Ezras Nashim was 135 amma by 135 amma, and in every corner there was a small chamber, or a chamber that was 40 by 30 amas. One of them was the chamber for the Nazirim. A Nazir shechted an oil and a chatas that was outside, but the Shlamim, they were cooked the meat of the Shlamim inside this chamber, and they cut the Nazir's hair off, and they put the hair underneath the pot. Another one of the chambers was the chamber of Shemen. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov forgot what it was, but Abishal said it's the chamber of oils and wines. The other chamber was the chamber of wood. That was the Kohanim that have mumim and they couldn't perform the avodah. They let them take care of the worms, deworm all the wood, because wood that has worms is puzzle for the Beis Hamikdash. And finally, the last one is the chamber of Metzora. There was a mikveh in there, and the Mishnah tells us an amazing thing. There was kalas roish, even in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, men and women would talk or whatever they were doing, and therefore they tried different things. The only thing that seemed to work was they built Ezras Nashim on a higher level, on a balcony, and the women were on top and the men were on the bottom. Going up to the Heichal, going into the Hazara, there was, from the Ezras Nashim to the Hazara, there was 15 steps that were in a circle. They were called Shir HaMalois. They relate to the 15 Shir HaMalois in Tehillim. Each step had a row of Levim with their instruments, and they played the song, that Shir HaMalois that belonged to them. Right there by the door on the sides, there were, in the wall, there were two doors that led underneath the Ezras Yisrael that we're going to describe in a second. These chambers were meant for instruments to prepare, to do the choir preparations and to hold their books and anything else related to the Levim and their instruments. There was the Ezras Yisrael going from the stairs up. There's 11 amos deep by the width of the Ezras Nashim or the Azar, 135 amos wide. There was a separation either by wood or, according to Rebbe Elazar Yaakov, there was actually a step that was the amma high and then three more steps that were half an amma. And then you had the Ezras Kohanim, which was also 11 amos deep by 135 amos wide. The Azara was 187 amos long by 135, and as we said, there was 13 ishtachavos. They bowed down 13 times. The Mishnah says every time that you pass one of the 13 gates, there's 13 gates in the Azara. The ones that we mentioned the other day were the main gates, but there are smaller gates as well. With that, we finish Har Habayis, Perek Har Habayis. Says the Mishnah. The Mizbeach, to begin with, was only 28 amos by 28 amos at its base. But Klal Yisrael added to where it became 32 amos and 32 by 32 amos on the base. The base was 1 amma high. So there was actually a step. Then it went in and there was another piece of the Mizbeach that was 5 amos high, 30 by 30. That had on top of that was the Soivev, which was 1 amma wide. Then it went up another 3 amos, and on top of that it had 4 kronos on the corners, a karen like a horn, which was 1 amma by 1 amma by 1 amma. There needed to be room for the kohanim to walk around, so that took off another amma on the top, and then we were left with 24 by 24 amos for the marachos, for the fire, and for the aktaras hakabranos. There was a chut sikra right in the center of the mizbeach, 5 amos from the bottom, 5 amos from the top, and that marked where the bloods that go on the top belong. That is oilas ha'oif, and a regular chatas go above the red line, and all other kabbanos, including the chatas ha'oif, go below the red line. And finally, the actual yesod of the mizbeach only had 1 amma in the south and 1 amma in the east, and that is because the entire Mizbeach had to belong in the property of Shevet Binyamin, and the south and the east belonged to Shevet Yehuda besides that 1 amma. As you see in the picture, have a wonderful day.